Does tee height actually matter when it comes to hitting driver? Can changing your tee height really change your shot shape? Does teeing it up lower actually mean you hit more fairways? Well, I've put it all to the test. And in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what happens when you change your tee height with your driver. Let's get into it. Now, when it comes to tee height, most people believe that if you tee it up higher, you can hit it further. And if you tee it up a little bit lower, you have more control over the golf ball. Which goes to explain why the most popular tee around your local golf course is the pink castle tee. Best of both worlds. Is that even connected? No. But after hitting over 100 shots with 3 different tee heights, the answers aren't as black and white as that. Now, earlier on today, I hit 30 shots with 3 different tee heights. The white castle tee, the pink castle tee, and the orange castle tee. All absolute classics around your local golf course. I wanted to know a few things. I wanted to know if what we assumed to be true about tee height was actually true. What's the best tee height for me? And I've recently upgraded my FlightScope Mevo Plus to include club data. So I wanted to know what kind of effect tee height had on club path. Is the answer to your slice hidden in tee height? Let's dive into some results, shall we? I've got the results here, and let's look into some ball data to start with. The 5 data points I found interesting here were carry, lateral dispersion, so how far left or right I was missing, how much shape was put on the ball, so curve, a classic stat here, backspin, and smash. How was my strike affected by tee height? Now when it comes to carry, what you expect to happen happens. With the white tee, we're carrying it 238.9 yards. With the pink tee, we're carrying it a little bit further at 247.5 yards. And the orange tee just a little bit further than the pink tee at 248.4 yards. I was kind of expecting a bigger jump in carry with the orange tee, so maybe that's a little bit out of the norm. Tee it high and hit it further? Well, not that much further. Now, I was expected to hit it straighter with the white tee, which I wasn't. The white tee, on average, ended up 11.1 yards left of where I was aiming. The pink tee ended up 9.5 yards left. And the orange tee was actually the straightest tee I used. I was only missing that 6.3 yards left. Now, again, I was expecting the orange tee just to miss even further left. Now, unfortunately, I do have a bit of a miss left at the moment, and it is doing my head in. But the fact that I can hit it further and arguably straighter with the orange tee is kind of intriguing. I use something between like a white and a pink tee at the moment, so maybe I do need to tee up a bit higher. Now, even though the white tee was finishing further left than the orange tee, it did have less shape to it. Now, with the driver, I do have a bit of a draw at the moment, and I drew the ball with every tee height here. With the white tee, I was drawing it 5.2 yards. With the pink tee, 6.9 yards. And with the orange tee, 8.2 yards. That's kind of what you'd expect. With the shorter tee, you're going to hit it straighter. Not necessarily on line, as my results show, but you're going to have less shape to your shot. Now, when it comes to spin, it's almost exactly what you'd expect. The white tee is spinning more than the other two, at 2,932. Now, with the other 2 tees, they're spinning at 2,500 revs each, and you'd expect the orange tee to actually spin less than the pink. The idea being that you're hitting up on the golf ball more, which should reduce spin. But I didn't see that in the results here. When it comes to strike, the smash factor was also lower with the white tee, at 1.42 compared to the other 2 at 1.45. None of them are really great strikes with the driver, to be honest. I'm not hitting the driver exceptionally well at the moment, but I did kind of expect that the white tee would have the worst strike. Essentially what's happening there is I'm hitting the bottom of the club rather than the middle, which is why the spin has gone up as well. So some fairly expected results when it comes to the ball data there, but I was expecting a little bit more of a performance jump with the orange tee. I'm expecting it to carry further and spin less, but I didn't see that in these results, which is interesting. Let's move on to some club and some launch data. Now, the 5 things I wanted to look at here was vertical launch angle, horizontal launch angle, club path, angle of attack, and height. Now, when it comes to vertical launch angle, it's exactly what you'd expect. The white tee is launching the lowest and the orange tee is launching the highest. I'm a little concerned about how high I'm launching the golf ball at the moment. Should be lower than that, but with the white tee I can launch it a little bit lower and the orange tee I can launch it a little bit higher. So literally exactly what you'd expect. What was interesting was the horizontal launch angle. With the white tee I was 1.1 degrees left, with the pink tee 0.9 degrees left, and with the orange tee 0.5 degrees right. I have a huge problem at the moment where I start the ball left and I draw it, which means I miss left an awful lot. And it's been ages since I've seen the ball start right. And seeing that orange tee starting right was a bit of an eye-opener for me. And the reason why it was starting right is due to club path. Now, like I said earlier, I do have an in to out swing with the driver at the moment anyway. And with the white tee, it was only 1 degree to the right, which is an in to out swing. With the pink tee, it was 1.4 degrees right. And with the orange tee, it was 3.2 degrees right. So essentially, I'm hitting it more in to out, and my club face is aiming a little bit further right, which explains why we saw a bigger draw with the orange tee earlier on in the results. When it comes to angle of attack, it's pretty much exactly what you'd expect. My angle of attack was lower with the white tee compared to the pink and orange tees, and I was hitting up on the orange tee more than the other two. What I was expecting with angle of attack here though with the white tee is to actually hit it more level or possibly even down on the golf ball. I'm thinking if my angle of attack was more level or even slightly down, my strike would have been better with the white tee and I'd have probably seen some better dispersion results. And finally, height is exactly what you'd expect. The white tee flew the lowest and the orange tee flew the highest. A little concerned about how high I'm actually hitting the golf ball there though. My driver's at 8.5 degrees and that's still really, really high. Now that's all the data, but how did these tees actually affect my dispersion? I was expecting my cluster with the white tee to be so much tighter than it actually was. And when it came to the orange tee, I was expecting this wild, sporadic shotgun blast of results, but that just wasn't the case. All of these tee heights basically had the same dispersion. You could argue that the white tee was a little bit tighter, and there's an argument that the orange tee was a little bit wider, but not by enough to sort of justify it. Now, we have seen Rory McIlroy tee it up lower and higher depending on the hole in front of him, but we're not Rory McIlroy. We haven't got the ability to make sure that we hit the center of the club every time, and we definitely haven't got the ability to manipulate our club path on demand. Not to the level of accuracy we need anyway, but I was still surprised to see that all of these tee heights basically had the same dispersion. So what is the point of varying tee heights? Well, the reason why different tee heights exist is because everyone hits the ball differently. My angle of attack was up with every single tee height, but there'll be some of you out there that hit down with the driver, and therefore the white tee is probably going to be better for you. Now, one thing I wanted to find out was, does tee height actually affect your club path? And, well, yeah, it did. Now, before data collecting with each tee, I was making sure I was hitting a few practice shots just to make sure I was hitting the golf ball. And what I found that was with the orange tee, I really had to sort of manipulate myself to find the middle of the golf club. I'm so used to hitting a much shorter tee than the orange one that I really had to change my swing in order to hit the golf ball. Now, as you can see from the results, I had to hit up on the golf ball more. And in turn, that made me hit more from the inside, which also helped me start the ball right. So if you're someone that struggles with a slice and you're using a white or a pink tee, there's a chance that changing to an orange tee would actually reduce your slice. Now, don't get me wrong, it'll take a lot of getting used to and maybe you need to hit the driving range before you take it onto the course, but it's something I'm definitely considering because with an orange tee, I was hitting it straighter, I was hitting more from the inside, and I was able to start the ball right, which I haven't been able to do for months. So there you have it. That's my take on how the tee height affects your shot with a driver. I learned some valuable things myself there, to be honest. I think I need to be teeing the ball up a little bit higher. I think I'm going to see more distance and probably going to hit it a little bit straighter, to be honest. But don't just take my word for it. You can actually do this test yourself at your driving range. All I did was buy a bag full of the rubber tees that you get at driving ranges and just cut the tops off them. There's absolutely no reason why you can't buy yourself a bag of these and try different tee heights down the driving range. A really simple test, and you might find a different tee height will suit you better. And it's so simple to try. Guys, if you made it this far through the videos, thank you so much for your support and thank you for watching this whole video. If you're returning to the channel or you've enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers and I just need a few more of you to hit that subscribe button. So if you're enjoying the content, please hit it, and I'll see you next week for another video.